still, I think, a pretty quick turnaround. And so again, it's just about starting where you are and getting real and honest with yourself from where you are so that you can move forward. And that's another big thing for me is just moving forward. So it's progress, not perfection. If you've ever heard that as well. That's a big one for me, progress, not perfection.
You're like kind of a walking encyclopedia of things that I have been exposed to forever. Napoleon Hill. When I talked to you the other day, you said that, yeah, you're very familiar with Think and Grow Rich. You have actually 2 copies of that book. But you just said a couple things that Napoleon Hill says in all of his great teachings. And he's considered to be the best there ever was. And he's the grandfather of all this kind of thinking. Mm-hmm. But you said start where you're at. Start where you're at. One of the things that he talks about, and I'll throw this one at you, you have to know your desire. You have to know what it is that you want, and then you have to give yourself a plan. And you've said some of the stuff that he says, and you have to give it a time frame, and you have to take action. And so tell me how you view that. Again, let's go back to the example of a person who's struggling, a person who's just really having a hard time. They're having a hard time paying their bills. Their credit's not there, been destroyed, very low, weak. And they finally brought their head out of the sand enough to say, I heard Maria Chunn is really good, and I want to see if she can help me. When they come to you, what happens next?
Well, the first thing is, I do offer, free brief consultations, and I have this free Facebook group where I'm, constantly updating stuff, and I do 2 lives a week in there, and I really try to post something almost every day that's motivating. The other thing I say is I do have some handouts and things that I can give them, but I love that Napoleon Hill about needing desire and a plan, because one of the things that I teach that I've kind of come up with is, if you're familiar with SMART goals, I do SMART budgeting, and hold on. So SMART goals, it's specific, measurable, assignable, relevant, and time-bound. And basically what that means is just giving yourself a framework for meeting those goals. So be able to give it actionable steps, give it a time so that you have I don't want to say making things time-bound gives you a sense of urgency. Even if this is your 1-year plan, you still have that sense of, here's the date, I got to do it. And that you really name, another thing I say a lot is name and claim. So name and claim what it is you're going for. So I take that idea and I put it towards budgeting. And so that's the very first thing I say to people is you got to get smart about your budget. You have to really take a bit and look at it and break it down and get honest with yourself. And it's about your spending, your making, your action items, rethinking your habits, and then targeting specific areas where you need to improve. And that can be, and when I say improve, that means, again, maybe getting financially whole, so, catching up on your bills, or maybe that means saving more. It's just where you need to focus. And in the talk I just gave that you saw, Steve, I laid out the 3 sort of main tenets of when I come at budgeting. I come at it from a mindset point of view, which is a little bit different than most other people. And that, I think, is what does set me apart and what does make my work so accessible for everybody. It's like anybody can tell you to go get an app or read this article or try this method. And I can give you all that information too. In fact, I'm pretty well versed in budgeting apps and the different ones and who they work for, who would benefit from which one. And I can point you to various different blogs and speakers. But all the methodology in the world, all the ways to do things in the world isn't going to help you if you don't understand it. And if it doesn't make sense to you personally. So you have to start with how you think about money. So when someone first comes out of that, they have that aha moment and they know, okay, this needs to get better. What do I do? So my 3 points are: be honest, be specific, and be intentional. And that's where you have to start very first, is just really being honest with yourself about, that desire. Why do you want to do this? How did you get to the point? That's again where I got to, just looking at my kiddo and saying wow, I need to be better for both of us. And that's on me. I'm the mom. It's my responsibility. And then looking at all my finances and going, how the heck did I get here? And what changes can I make immediately? And then what do I need to work towards? So that we get honest.
Wow. So you were motivated. I've heard along the way from many people, change never takes place until there's a motivation. Mm-hmm. And having a child, for a person that wants to be responsible, that has enough goodness in them to want to give that child a good life and not have that child struggle. In other words, mm-hmm. one of the saddest things that I experience is when I'm working inside of the prison population. I talk about the 85%. 85% of all the children whose parents are or have been incarcerated, they follow in those footsteps. There's an 85% probability that if a child's parents have been incarcerated, they're going to be incarcerated also. And mm-hmm. So it's not hard to understand that. A lot of these parents that these children are born into these families, they don't have a fair chance. Right. The parents are not there. They're not teaching them proper lessons. They're not doing proper parenting. And the children are left to kind of fend for themselves. And before you know it, they go outside their household and they get into things that they shouldn't get into. But they're not encouraged at home. They're not taught. They're not read to at night. They're not given good nighttime routines. And it's just so sad. And so I've dedicated my life to that. And in talking to you, it just warms my heart to know that I've met another person who's got exactly the same desire and goal for yourself. So you made a transition from college training, wanting to go into the arts, acting, theater, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And then you had a child, and then you were in some struggles for a while. And then one day you finally said, enough's enough. I don't want to live like this anymore. Well, everybody has to get to that point to where enough's enough. And mm-hmm. then they seek mentors. They seek people that can help them move forward. And so that's what you are. You've said in the title of the show that you're an empowerment mentor. So mm-hmm. you also said that you like to help people understand themselves, to understand the why in their lives. Will you go deeper into that? Because I have to tell you, after I listened to your video, your mm-hmm. Facebook Live, learned a new term there, Facebook Live, and the name of it was Rock Your Budget. And I took 4 pages of notes, and I have them in front of me, and I was totally impressed. Everything that you covered. And so I have a couple close contacts that are pretty high up in the world of finance, budgeting, coaching, things of that nature, financial literacy. And I asked them, would they go to your Facebook and view your Facebook Live, Rock Your Budget? And they did. And in fact, one of them, Bill and his wife, Teresa, they previewed it, but they got hooked on you. You did another one last night, they said, that I haven't seen, where you started another topic. I'm not sure. What was the topic that you aired last night?
Well, so every Wednesday in the group at 6:30 p.m., I am doing a series currently, and it's called Save for Your Supper. So what I've been doing, and I can speak a little more on this as well, has been covering what's called the 4 walls concept. However, last night I just took a little break from that, sort of check in with everybody and talk about, what they want to do to move forward, but just to speak on, again, just positivity and a dialogue of like, what else do we want to learn? Like, what else, what do people want to hear about? And just kind of moving forward. But before that, I have been, again, speaking about the 4 walls concept, because the idea behind the Save for Your Supper series is that I'm giving people practical ways. Like, I'm just like handing you like how to do it to just get really frugal, or get really, smart and efficient with your money, so that you have more in your pocket. And that's my main goal all the time, is to give people more money in their pocket. A bigger, sometimes it's called a buffer or a gap. What is to always have a positive balance in an account, or just literally money in your pocket, that you're not cash poor. And actually, in your workbook, you have the great example of the construction worker, who at the beginning of the month needs, I think it was $900, but he only has $425 to start with. I forget the exact numbers, but just that, people, and I see this all the time. And my previous employer, a lot of art, a lot of theater is very seasonal or contract based. So you have a lot of people that are working for a short amount of time, and then might have like a long sort of layoff period, while they wait for the next season or they wait for the next job. And over and over and over and over again, I cannot tell you, I cannot stress this. I would see people making pretty good money. We're talking well over minimum wage while they're working, but then not thinking about that time period where they're not working. So instead of being smart, getting their, living within their means, getting their bills into a place where they can always cover them throughout the year, no matter their situation, they make a whole lot of money for maybe 8 months, buy a bunch of stuff, you take your, just be living the high life. And then they get to their off season, and for 4 months, you hear them, I don't know how I'm going to, make rent this month. Oh man, I got to sell some stuff. It's like, well, you had 8 months to figure this out. And it's that same, when you're looking at it, that exact example of the construction worker, he has all month to get ready for that next rent check, all month. So, but is he saving that money the month before, or is he just pocketing that cash and going out and, buying his snacks, and then come Monday realizing, oh, I'm $20 short for this bill? It's in that same world of, I got money burning a hole in my pocket, I got to spend it, rather than, okay, here's a list of things I need to cover. I'm going to set aside this chunk right now, even though that's 2 weeks away, a month away, however long away, that I'm going to remember every paycheck I need to take out X amount for this next thing.
Thanks for referencing the construction worker example. The thing that was about was the secret to financial personal financial management is to always be aware of how much money that is in your pocket belongs to you, and how much has already been committed to something else. And one of the problems that I believe we see all the time with a lot of people is that they're not thinking about tomorrow. They're just kind of going through life, and They don't want to put the proper time into budgeting out what's going